What if I told you that your branding process has been backward this whole time? Hey guys, I'm Rebecca and I help brands own their voice through the power of creativity. If you understand these 3 fundamentals, your design will become inevitable, not accidental. So let's dive in. So a big mistake I see a lot of designers make is to start with the visuals. We kind of have like this vision of branding, like it's just a statement that you put on a website or something like that, or it's like a cool Pinterest board. And yes, those things kind of like go into that, but there's a bigger picture kind of thing to branding that I think a lot of people don't realize. And you as a brand designer, if you want to start a career, or as a creative entrepreneur or business owner, I think it goes a long way for you to understand these 3 principles that I'm about to say. Quick backstory, I started out as a brand designer 10 years ago, and there's one thing that I wish I realized at the time, because once I started to actually notice this thing, I saw it in multiple projects and it just provided more context to my work, and it became more and more strategic, and I started to speak to like bigger clients and actually be somewhat of a mentor figure for them. They started to actually ask me for advice and respect my opinion and get fewer revisions and just an overall positive project outcome. So the first fundamental of branding that I want to say is branding is not a one task kind of thing. It's a storytelling practice. Yes, it's a practice. So it's not one thing that you get done one time. It's actually something that you put into practice on a business every single day. Yes, I know it's kind of hard to hear that because you kind of want a branding to be like a $500 deal or something like that, and it's not that simple. Don't fall into the trap of reducing branding to mission, vision, and values. And I would say for us designer, people that come to us usually reduce branding to just the visual identity as well. Having a nice visual identity, don't get me wrong, I do that all day. It's what I'm the best at. I'm really good. If I do say so myself, I'm a brand designer, so I know that is important. I know that gets me clients, that gets me cool work, and it gets me opportunities to do what I love, and I love that people connect to it, that it has an impact, and I think it has a big impact. But branding is not just that. Branding is storytelling most of all. So I think designers, one thing that you can start asking yourself is, what is this brand story? What is this project? What does it want to tell to people? Visuals are supposed to be telling that story. And I can give some cool examples of my own work, but essentially like there's a story behind every brand. And this brand might be mysterious. It might be for people who think the opposite of the masses, for the underground. And there's a cultural movement that goes into that brand. So there's a story behind it, and my visuals will support that story. So you have to start thinking about that, so you can present work that supports that. And your work will be that much more impactful. For instance, I designed in a coffee shop, and I'll add the video here or in the description so you can watch my full case study that I did for a cafe in Oregon, which is pretty nice, that I do work remotely for companies in the US and all over the world. So interesting, but I put out that case study and you can really see how we were trying to create a cozy atmosphere. So there are a lot of things also like the atmosphere, how people feel. And for that coffee shop particularly, people were meant to feel at home and invited. So all of the design decisions went into creating that as well. The website, super cozy, super sophisticated, but in a natural way. So all the design decisions support that story. I did also luxurious brand identities for golf brands, playful identities, experimental merch. I've done a lot of things, but usually they tell a story, like if it's an unexpected type of brand, or if it's heritage inspired, or maybe a recent one, it's our Teasel that we are now doing content for them. So the story was a pottery tool brand that was inspired by self-care themes and like the nurturing aspects of self-care. So kind of like being like almost this meditation practice, like the art of clay, you know? So we wanted to bring that story. So we created an identity for that, and now we are creating content. So we were able to define how the content should feel and how the content should look, because it's all about that storytelling practice, and it's about imprinting that to your audience and making them a part of that story. So basically, if you are designing the brand, what you're really doing is setting the foundation for that story. Your client is the one that's supposed to implement that. And that can be kind of difficult, but that's where consistency really matters. Storytelling and consistency. So a big branding fundamental is storytelling, but it has to be paired with consistency. Because branding is about perception. And for a perception to work, it has to be repetitive into the audience brain. If you can educate your clients, that goes a long way for client trust. So make sure that the client has everything that the client needs to implement the brand story. With your help, you're not going to do that work for them, but you can help with the right tools. If it's a brand identity, if it's a website, wherever you can help your client with on this branding journey, they will remember you and come to you again for more work. And they might come up to you to ask questions, and that's a good sign because it means they really trust you. Second fundamental that I want you to understand, branding is a process, not a result. Yes, branding is a process. Everyday process. Think about it like going to the gym. Yes, you're going to have results after a while, but they are a consequence of going to the gym. Going to the gym is the actual work. So branding it's branding, you know? It's an ongoing thing. That's what I mean. The name itself suggests this. What matters the most is what is consistently applied on a day-to-day. That's what really matters. Good branding is perception, relationship, and experience. If I had to make a formula for good branding, that would be it. Perception, relationship, and experience. Those are the things that make branding work. So if I was to go to the gym, if I wanted like a really fit body, maybe I mean lifting weights, challenging myself, showing up every day, eating well, or something like that to get the results. So for me, for branding, it's relationships, experience, and perception. And understanding this allows you to provide the best tools for your clients. And if you want to get more insights like these ones and what tools you can actually use, I do have a newsletter that you can sign up in the description, and also a blog with some articles that might help you provide the best tools. And my final branding fundamental, and I think it's more like an advice, is that not everyone is at the moment that they are ready to actually go into deep branding work. So some clients might come to you and they are not ready for a really good branding work. They might just need something quick that they can use, and there's not a problem with that. But if you want to serve this type of clients, be sure that you understand what they actually are looking for and what type of client they are. But if you want to like amplify your impact and look for branding ready clients, you have to be able to differentiate those. They are very different. Yes, they have bigger budgets usually because they understand a very big part of creating a business and like creating a movement, really. That's what branding is. It doesn't have to even be a business. Decide if you're okay with taking both types of work or only one type of work and position yourself for that. I know that doesn't feel like a branding fundamental, but it really is. You have to be ready. That's the fundamental. Like, are you ready to improve branding, to apply branding, to work on branding on a day-to-day? If you're not ready, no amount of tools can help you. So those are the 3 fundamentals. I hope they were helpful. If you want to know more, you can join the newsletter and just receive insights while you scan through your email or whatever. Feel free to comment down below if you have another fundamental that I should cover or another topic. I'm very happy to do so. And I'll see you guys later.